try as I might, I couldn't figure out how to make a computer without an amp. Why do I need an amp? Because I can't repeat a value. You need an amp that at least times it by 2, so you can repeat the amp. So for a function like a equals a plus 1, you have to repeat a. For that, there's certain times where you need to repeat out, and then you got to come back together again. You got to repeat the variable out and then come back together for the compute. And without an amp, that's actually impossible, because you can do it at half the amplitude, but without an amp, you just sort of get quieter and quieter and quieter, and it's compounding how it happens. So every time you do one analog subtract, you have to divide your volts by 2 and your amps by 2. And volt loss is a killer, just as much as amp loss. If you lose volts, it's just as much a killer as amps. And the other reason why you need an amp is if you've done a comparison, you've done A take B, and then you check in the polarity result. What if they were just near each other? Now you're at this piddly little voltage that can't move any information after that. You have to multiply all the way to the top level of the system before now it can manipulate other variables by being loud. But if you just do a comparison, a basic analog comparison without an amp is so low in power that it can't affect any more variables afterwards. So that's 2 reasons why you need an amp, and there's like no way out of it. If you've got diodes, you can do logic. Are you saying to me that I'm wrong? Yeah. You never know, I might be wrong, and you can actually do it with diodes, but how do they fan out? Yeah, there's probably some. I heard that you can actually do it with diodes, but it's done by this other genius guy. And he has to somehow replicate his values, and he has to do Boolean. Well, the way you get out of needing the Boolean factor is you do the whole thing digital, and then you don't need to amplify an analog comparison. If you keep the whole thing digital, then you don't need to do a comparison. That's if you're doing half analog. If you're doing analog, then you need to amp comparisons. But if you just stay digital, then you don't need to amp a comparison. So that's that one dead. So that if you do it with diodes, then you definitely have to do the whole thing digital. You're not allowed one analog value. And then the other thing with diodes, how do you replicate the signal for a fan out? And there might be some trick with a diode what you do to do that, but I've seen a diode latch before. So you can definitely get a diode latch, but how do you actually replicate the signal without current loss? Or voltage loss, I don't know. So what did I do? I got myself an amp. Because I needed an amp. I know if I get this amp, then I should be right.